Thanks, everyone. So I now have the honor of introducing Ms. Barbara McQuiston. She is the DoD Deputy Chief Technology Officer for Science and Technology. She leads the DoD's work to create innovative technologies, oversees the development of the S&T workforce, and advocates to advance DoD laboratories and research centers. Having spent nearly a decade in the government during service at DARPA and another 30 years in the commercial sector, she has a wealth of experience in developing cutting-edge technologies in numerous markets. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Barbara McQuiston.
All right, you all have had lunch now, so that hopefully I'm your lunchtime entertainment before you nod off here a little bit. But actually, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm glad that we can celebrate being here. This is sort of a excitement of mine after living online for so long that we can actually get together and be more creative. So it's a real honor to be here. I also am glad to be here at the 30th anniversary of the NITRD group. It's had an incredible history advancing the state of information technology, research and development, and helping lay down the infrastructure and enabling technologies that are key for government and commercial activities. Many of us, in fact, it's a little bit of old home week for me because many of us go back decades and decades, looking at even the start of the ARPANET and the key science and engineering where we were dreaming of what the digital economy would look like, of what this infrastructure would look like for our society. And I bring that up because people take it for granted right now. But if we look at some of the things like when we were talking about blockchain 30 years ago, what we were thinking about was how does the Treasury move money through the banking system, and how can it do it securely, and how can we make things resilient and helpful for our society at large moving forward. And of course, now we think of these things in the everyday, but we think of these things in the everyday because of all the work that went on at NITRD, bringing together the interagencies, bringing together the working group, and funding a lot of the basic science and research that had to move forward in order for this vision that we've all dreamed about to come into manifestation. So in the early commercial activity of the internet, NITRD enabled high-performance computing across agencies in the federal government, and NITRD took the necessary steps to move these ideas into practice. That's no small order, believe me. Today, we manage things every day, from making it through the pandemic to the speed of transactions, and we don't think twice about it. So I would like to thank NITRD and celebrate with them today and this evening, because we also don't take the time either to recognize and celebrate enough, I believe. We've been enabling academic, commercial, and military progress. And today we look at AI/ML and transforming the rollout of 5G wireless technology. Within research and engineering, we have a lot of work looking not only at 5G, but future G. And of course, within DARPA, we're pushing the frontier forward constantly in IT technology, security, and cyber-related technology, information science. But DARPA also wouldn't be able to move forward their ideas without the interagency and without coordination and research and challenging each other. And where is a safe place to challenge each other these days? There's not too many of those communities where a lot of the important discussions can happen, where people can actually take issue with each other and look at where the future needs to be. Have what I call a creative discourse, so that we can talk about what that future is going to look like and what needs to happen for security and for innovation. I always laugh these days because we're pushing innovation at the DoD, which is extraordinarily important for us. but at the same time we push innovation, it comes from a foundation of investment in research and science, and we can't forget about that. The innovation is what I call the emerging technology that comes out of being able to look at technology and look at the opportunity and the science and the breakthroughs that happen and think about what could happen. So I really would encourage all of you at NITRD to have that sense of agency, that sense of purpose, and that sense of imagination, and to challenge each other, and to challenge each other within the interagencies to think about what could happen. At DoD, we think about a lot of problems securing the infrastructure. We worry about data security, information science, because we're worried about national and economic security. But for us to be able to do that and to create our mission and move forward, we need to work with the interagency, because solution-based goes across the board to secure things, especially on the infrastructure. So we can all benefit and learn from each other, and we can also, I will also challenge my partners here in the interagency to think of ways to streamline and become more agile and be adaptive to the technology that needs to move forward. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for us all every day. We're going to meet that challenge by being proactive and being positive and being collaborative across the board. I also believe that looking at universities, research institutes, and the commercial area and my DARPA training, you never know where ideas are going to come from. They can go back to the grand challenge and realize how many cool technologies were developed for autonomous vehicles from people who had no affiliation at all, but were working out of their back garage. You know, it was incredible. And those strategies, as a grand challenge was a perfect example. As the challenges continued, the winning strategies were adapted and used for the next round. And I see that all the time in the communities that we have. So we have to be inclusive. We have to be inclusive of where the ideas and the science and the technology is emerging, and be able to very quickly be able to work with it and solve some of our gaps and challenges that we have as a nation. But NITRD's role in enabling these vast investments that we're making in both the commercial industry, universities, research, and across the interagencies is key. The technology is critical, and investments in cloud services and the internet and the latest telecommunications and harnessing these leap-ahead ideas with wide-ranging applications need to go forward. And they need to go forward in what we all term the ecosystem, but what we know is collaboration across the board to make it happen. And this is important. It's important for commercial industry. It's important for new products. It's important for our leadership within the United States, because we need to maintain that national and economic development and security at the same time. So in defense R&D, NITRD works with our laboratories and our research institutes to push forward research in frontier technology areas through this discourse. And as I mentioned before, DARPA is a huge partner there, because of what's going on there. It's one thing to sort of break that boundary in the frontier. It's a whole nother aspect to be able to fund that larger research and the lifetime of what that breakthrough will really mean. And again, it's the community that's in this room, and it's the community that's pulled together through NITRD. So that's what's going to make our country maintain its leadership position, have more resilience, and provide the strategic advantage that we need so much. And maximizing the research efforts is key as well. So as emerging technology across these federal partners and coordinating the effort and adaptation increases, we need to think about our own responsiveness, our own innovation within our agencies, and to be able to have the leadership and the voice to move forward. I always say science and technology needs a voice at the table throughout the thinking of policy, thought, workforce, training, education, certification. This all works together in concert and can lead to opening things up to a healthy and diverse set of people for the future workforce. So as we're sort of celebrating the 30 years, and it's really incredible, because when we think of a lot of the conversations I know I've had from the ARPANET on about what it means to have a digital infrastructure and to be where we are today, again, it's it's wonderful to see our dreams and visions come into fruition. But I want to leave you with some thoughts on this side as we lead to educate and inspire others. And that is to be able to take the inspiration, the thoughts, and the vision that are going to be the foundation for the next 30 years. I would say challenge each other. Think about the possible. Think about beyond the possible for what we could imagine and dream of, and what that would mean and how it would change the mission, not only for our agencies, but for us in our everyday life. I mean, if we hadn't had the vision and the investment, and I would say many individuals in this room, the sort of commitment to that vision, when we had the pandemic, how would we have been able to implement the education and the communication that we were able to pivot and have? When we look at how we move markets and financial commitments, when we look at our everyday life, you know, we can look around the room and realize there were champions here that made that happen. So the poster sessions, all of us here have an obligation to not only be inspired for think about what could be the next 30 years, but to also cultivate and support those that have those ideas as they move forward. So I'm going to make this short and sweet because I know there's a lot more on the agenda here and a lot more for you to work on. But we at the DoD really care about this, so I want you to know that. We invest in scientific foundations and emerging technology, and we actually look at the critical needs within our country for national and economic security. That means securing the infrastructure. That means new and emerging ideas on how to look at data and information and trust within AI/ML systems and the critical technologies that we need to move forward. So I will personally take a moment today and celebrate, and tonight, and celebrate with you. But I will also be paying attention to where investments need to be made, to where universities and workforce and education needs to move forward, and to help us so that we're prepared with the investments we need to make now for the emerging technology to come. So thank you, and I look forward to future conversations with you and being inspired myself. Appreciate it.